I'm Allie Baker, and I'm the NAILPRO Cup 2015 champion.
And this is Stephanie Lavery for Behind the Nail Pros. Allie, it was so exciting to have you here. You are this year's Nail Pro Cup winner. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was very exciting.
So what does this mean to you? I mean, you've been competing for a while now.
Yeah, I was competing for the last 3 years steadily. And I'd done competitions here and there throughout the years prior, but this was my first time really seriously trying to go for the cup.
What has been your favorite competition over the last year?
Fantasy nail art's really fun for me. It's really stressful and it takes a ton of time, but I like seeing what I can do with it. So the nail art competition's my first year really doing this. I didn't enter. And then I decided to be able to win the cup, I had to do it all. And so I got into the hand painting in 3D and fantasy. And fantasy is really a lot of fun for me. I've been able to kind of bring my kids in as models and they've been able to come with me. And that also sparked an interest in my son to do nails. But just seeing my progress through the nail art categories from when I first started a few years ago to what I've done this last year has been a big improvement.
Well, for this cover, we decided to tap into your creative spirit and use that 3D for this sort of Gothic-inspired set of nails. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about how you began. I had given you some inspiration images, and you came up with this design.
Yes, I got the email with the images that you sent for inspiration, and I kind of went with that and looked at them, and they're really cool. They're kind of more my style. I like a lot of darker colors, so it was kind of fun for me to use the dark purples and reds and really deep tones. So to go with the flowers, which I saw in a lot of the images you sent, and different styles of lace, and I kind of tried to play with that and see what I liked better.
You began by sculpting out the nail bed, and then you attached the lace. How did you do this?
Well, I used a cover pink to extend her nail bed because the nails were going to be very long. And then I had a longer form. So once the nail bed was done, I used some clear acrylic right along the smile line, cut the lace to fit the smile line shape, and then pressed that into that clear acrylic and held it there until it started to set up to where it wouldn't move. And then did that again at where I wanted my free edge to be. So that kind of tacked the lace down to the form. And then I was able to use the clear acrylic on top of that to build over the top and encase that inside.
Part of your end design, you wanted to have a scalloped edge on the sides of the nails. So how did you apply the acrylic to make sure you had the room for that?
Well, because it was lace, you don't see a lot of lace that's just a straight solid edge. So I thought having the sides of the nails kind of drip down and be a little like a scalloped kind of design would be fun. So when I was sculpting with the clear, I just brought the sidewalls down farther than I ever would normally when I'm sculpting something out on a form. And then when I was done, I went in with my electric file and filed the shape into them.
Electric file techniques are a huge help and can do so much for your nail design. What do you recommend for people who haven't learned electric filing?
Practice on yourself, actually. Then you kind of know what the pressure feels like and how fast you can go, what you can do with it before it starts to hurt. Because if you really don't know what you're doing, you could really damage somebody else.
After you sculpted the nails and filed the shape and the side scallops, what did you do next?
Then I sealed them with a gel sealer to make them shiny. And then I started with a black gel, a hard gel actually, and did my design around on top of the lace pattern. So I outlined the edges with gel and a striping brush, cured that, and then went in and did design on top of the nail and extended it up onto the nail bed a little bit.
When you're working with a hard gel and sort of a detailing brush to create those fine details, what kind of tips can you give for people who want to try that technique?
Well, because gel continues to move typically, do small amounts at a time and then cure for a few seconds in between so that it doesn't run or the colors don't bleed into each other or your lines don't get messed up. You take your time if you need to and flash cure in between.
The nails alone with the lace were so cool, but I think that the best part was adding the roses and the leaves that you created. That 3D element really took the nails to the next level. Talk to us a little bit about how to create those 3D flowers. You make it look so simple, but I know for people who are not that familiar with this, it seems really difficult.
Well, I guess it kind of looks simple because probably in the past 2 months, I've probably made 150 roses between different nail art things that I've done. It's lots of practice, but main point is to just learn how to control your product and what your consistency is, because you want to start molding it and shaping it into what you want while it's still kind of rubbery. If it's too wet, it's gone, and if it's too dry, you can't move it.
I noticed though when you were building out the flowers, you were using your hand, the back of your hand as sort of the base for that. Now I've
Yes.
also seen plenty of other people do it on another form or on a piece of tin foil. Why do you use your hand?
Well, I found if I put the form on the back of my hand and I work on that form, I get the heat from my hand underneath it, so it helps to help the product set a little bit differently. Acrylic is heat sensitive, so if it's really warm, the product's going to set up faster. So when you're building something like that, you don't want the product runny because you're going to be chasing it. So by putting the form on my hand, it keeps it warm enough to where it sets up a little faster, makes it a little easier to work with. And then as I'm building the rose, I stick it to the back of my hand because I find if I try to set it up on a form or something that's slick, as I'm really pressing the sides to press the extra petals on, it'll pop off and slide off. But if I stick it to my hand, it sticks to my skin really well and it doesn't move, and it'll stick there until I'm completely done with the flower and I'm not having to try to re-stick it somewhere to hold it while I'm trying to do it.
I also want to hear a little bit about how you created those leaves. No joke, they were so realistic, so delicate. It looks like you used multiple colors to really create that depth. How did you do that?
Well, I did. I actually used two colors. I used a green and a brown. And so I dipped just a tiny little bit of brown and then in the green to do it. I dry out the ball a little bit so that it's not really runny when I lay it out. And then just use the point of the brush to make the preliminary shape to like where it would be attached to the stem and then the point of the leaf. And then I use the side of my brush to press in like the veins of the leaf and then run it down the center to make it, to just give it a little more dimension.
So what's next for you now that you have a Nail Pro Cup cover and you're the Nail Pro Cup champion?
Well, I'm also an educator, so I do that a lot. I'm working with, we have some new girls on my team this year, some new members. One of them is my son, so I'm kind of helping train our team and competing again. We'll see how it goes, but I'm thinking I might try for number 2. We'll see.
Awesome. Well, that's so exciting. And it was really such a pleasure to have you here today. The nails were really, really gorgeous. And I'm so glad we kind of tapped into your own personal style and your favorite things to do with nails to get this cover right, because I think it really reflects you and your style.
Thank you. I had a great time doing it, and I was really looking forward to coming. So it was a great day. I'm really happy with how they turned out. Can't wait to see them on the cover.